Hi everyone, today we are interrogating our friend Anton Korenevsky and we are doing it together. It's very unusual. We have a co-host, our Tanya Zhukova today.
Hello everyone.
And to be honest with you, I feel so tired, but hopefully I will be professional enough to conduct this interview properly, Anton. So Anton, I've known you for some time and now we want to ask you, who are you, what do we need to know about you? I mean, as far as I know, you have several roles, so many roles and interests in your life. Just tell us something about yourself.
Well, that's a good question, actually, because
But
that's
as
a good start.
But as I told you, be as loud as possible.
Okay, that's a good question and that's a good start. You know, like to say that that's a good question. Yeah. So,
Tanya, do you think they can see you? Maybe you need
Why
to sit
not?
closer
Closer?
a little bit. I mean, I don't mind.
Okay. Well, if I had to describe myself in a few words, I would say that first of all, I'm father and husband, and also I'm a teacher. I teach English, and I'm a translator and interpreter, and hopefully a poet. And I do write poetry, and I've been writing poetry and prose for like maybe 30 years out of my 37, and I published 2 books here in Rostov, and I also translated 1 book from English into Russian, and I'm now working on several plays for theater and a screenplay which I hope will one day become a movie, and also a graphic novel. So few things I'm doing at the moment, but most of my time I spend for teaching. So this is what I do for.
So you do
for money to make living.
So you do so much stuff.
Yeah.
And can you give us a couple of lines of your poetry, maybe 4 lines?
Oh,
maybe.
that will be quite now.
A very short part. I mean.
Well, but they are in Russian. Mainly, so
no, in Russian it doesn't work. I mean, we need.
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, but I expected that actually, but I did not prepare because I have poetry in English, and it is somewhere, but just a few. I usually write songs in English, not poems, not verses. And well, if you give me a few seconds,
or maybe a small part of your song you wrote. It can be anything.
I never remember the stuff I write. That's a problem.
Yeah.
I'm not so old, but I never remember.
Just like me, I always forget the topics I write for my English talk show.
Yes. So that's a problem because I write stuff and I never remember. But Instagram is my good friend, so I think I can find. Now I remember that I have.
So while you're looking for something, I'll have my brief question for you.
Yes.
So you have a very long relationship with English as a language. But can you tell us, what do people in Russia need it for? I mean, just imagine an average Rostovite who doesn't travel a lot, she stays here in Rostov, she doesn't travel. What does she need English for?
Yeah, here I can talk for hours because this is a very common thing which I hear when I start working with some people and when I ask this question.
But maybe you can say something extra. I mean, in addition to broadening your horizons and everything, your ability to read in English, understanding more, to avoid brainwashing in Russian because you can have access to English sources of information. What else?
I think that one of the reasons why everybody should study foreign languages is that just not to get old too quickly and just to keep your mind fresh.
So it's good for your mind.
I believe, yes. I had a student, actually very interesting, very educated, very clever monk who now lives in St. Petersburg. The person who studied everything, music, Chinese, Greek, English, and his level of English was already cool when he came to me. And he just said, he never traveled. He said, I don't need it. I don't need to go to New York. He could afford, but he never. And he said, did that? So he said, I just don't want to have Alzheimer or something. I don't want to.
So English is good for your brain.
Yeah, I believe that. Okay, I found only one short verse. Like a path through the snow. Actually, now it's, it sounds funny, but it was written 2 years ago. Like a path through the snow, through your can and don't know, through your will and your weakness, straight ahead. You could be someone else, man, clever, wealthy and handsome, but among other winners. don't go mad.
Thank you.
Inspirational.
Yeah, but that's just one of the verses. I have many, but they are in English. They are in Russian, and songs which are in English, I usually forget, even the chords.
So Anton, you've been with us before. I mean, you visited English talk show just once, but you probably remember something. What do you remember, and what were the positives and negatives? Maybe you can share your opinion.
I came to join the party because I never heard about anything similar before in our city, and when I came, I was surprised that there were quite a lot of people who at least wanted to talk in English, and the atmosphere was very friendly, open, and light. Although as I told you before, I remember that those people 2 years ago had much lower level than those I heard today.
Yeah, people are very different every time.
Yes, and I often recommend your club to my friends and to their children, especially to those who don't want to have like regular classes or don't have time for that or don't have sufficient funds to hire a tutor or to go to school, but they have good level and they need practice, which most people are lacking in Rostov, because it's not Moscow or St. Petersburg where you can just go to the bar or coffee shop or somewhere and just hang around with
foreigners.
Yeah, just hang around the whole night and practice. Here you don't have such a, but I always find foreigners here as well. So.
Yeah, it's also difficult
so, you can
to find some people from abroad here.
Yeah.
And as a teacher, can you tell us the best way to learn English? What would you recommend?
There are lots of things. Just first of all, I think, and I tell my students, first of all, try to enjoy it. Feel it as fun, as entertainment. I'm not going to talk about edutainment, whatever. But you have to switch your mind.
Anton, but will you agree with me? For example, my formula is to make English my lifestyle.
Right.
I mean, I don't travel that much, unfortunately, but my social life and my whole life is all around English.
Right, I agree. I tell my students almost the same. My advice is read air fresheners. And what I mean by that, yes, I mean like don't read whatever
instruction for an air freshener.
Yes, I'm not gonna go into detail here, but what I mean is that people procrastinate a lot. People waste so much time, and you're walking around, and you buy food in the night. You go to your fridge, you take some stuff from there. Just read what is written there in English, or for example, I don't know what you can see some labels. You buy jeans and you can read what is written there, what is in there. So just try to surround yourself with the language, and especially in your head. And that's why I start all my lessons with different mental exercises and games. So we play associations, for example. I say a word, you say another word, I say like table tennis, by meaning or by sound. Or we play like collocations, definitions, different things. And I tell my students, come on, 5 minutes a day. Just switch to this English mode while you're driving. Try to think English. Describe what you see around. Just simple words. Collocate, whatever. Just say phrases in your head or loud. You can do it. Everybody can do it.
And I like to say that learning English or living with English is almost like having a relationship. That's why I avoid learning other foreign languages, because for me it's a very long-term relationship.
Yeah,
it's for my whole life. I've been learning or practicing English for the last, I don't know, probably at least 25 years. So for me it's my life. And I think everyone who learns English should understand that it's not just for 2 weeks, it's not just for a month.
Sure.
You should do it your lifestyle. It's like having a long-term girlfriend.
Right. I would say family, and it's like also it's like physical exercise, whatever. If you do it once a year, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And same with music. You cannot practice once a week. If you don't practice daily, so you lose your skill. You can restore it, revive it, but you need to do it daily, and you need to have fun out of that. You need to like it. I mean, like if you don't like it and you just force yourself because you want some, career. You want some traveling to Turkey, as some people say.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. The motivation should be internal rather than external, I believe.
And now, Anton, let's get more philosophical. And you are somehow connected with religion. You have some connections. and you know a lot about religion and Christianity. And can you tell us, and people ask you often about it probably, what do people need religion for?
I don't think that people actually need religion.
Very interesting.
I think that that's not the right word that people need it for, because it is not like a gadget you use. It's not even like, maybe it's not even like food. But I believe that religion, and Christianity is not really religion.
So
that's
can you use some superpowers to prevent that person from playing the piano?
No. And I believe, and you know, that's a question which there is such a branch of theology called branch of theology which works with very difficult question, justifying God. You know, probably what I'm talking about. Theodis, when it sounds in Greek like theodiceia. So justifying God. Why? God is good, but so many bad things happening. You know, wars and diseases, and why can't he use his superpower to stop that, to prevent that? But that's the thing, that you mentioned relationships, and I believe that religion, and first of all Christianity, that's about relationship. Person can live without family, and his or her quality of life won't be worse and lower. Maybe the person will be able to afford more things for himself or herself, but something that you gain from, you don't gain, you get
something special.
Something, the view, you know, you have some other view of life, some other taste of life. You know, it's my daughter's birthday tomorrow, and for me it's so intimate, and at the same it's so deep and universal that I can't explain this. Like, why is it so cool to be father? Why is it so cool to be husband? Why it's so cool to be Christian? It's just I just feel this as my life, and I feel that my sight was different before I converted.
But are you just saying that this question, what do people need religion for, is just pointless?
I think it's pointless. It's just, that's why I stopped, basically, I just stopped trying to convert people, you know, to prove that that's not good to be atheist, you're not right to be, you know, no, I just don't want to do it. I believe that God reveals himself as human, as person. And he can reveal himself through nature, culture, relationship, through people, whatever he wants to choose for that.
So Tanya used her superpowers to stop the person.
Just physical powers.
The recording, does it work? Can you see? Does it work? Just to make sure.
Yeah, it works
You
fine.
know the joke about, like, the jokes about, lots of religious jokes about the guy who trusts God so much that he doesn't, you know, take any help. It's like
he didn't buy a lottery.
Yeah, lottery, and lots of when he was not rescued and saved, and then when he died, and he started blaming God for that. Like, why you didn't save me? And he said, like, who sent you the car, the helicopter, and everything?
At least you should have tried.
Yeah, I think that there are lots of things we can do ourselves, and faith, I would say faith. Faith is not for something. It's not something you, because it's like, there is a Latin phrase, do ut des, I give you candle, money, and you give me back. It's not like that.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work like that, like it doesn't work in family. You know, I give you this, I buy you jewelries, you cook lunch for me. No, it doesn't work. Then it's not family. Then it's not relation. But we all do this. I do it a lot. You know, saying to my wife, you should do that. I do this, and I'm such a hero. But that's wrong. And at the moment I do it, I feel something is wrong with me. And same when we do it with God. So it's a relationship, not for something.
So
we will all die.
You should give without expecting anything.
Yes,
in return.
yes. There was a good Russian cartoon, Korenevsky, God. You know,
Oh,
why?
I remember.
Why? Just
I don't
you
remember.
know,
Nice
that's,
cartoon.
you know, why are you giving me that? Just
Yeah.
without a reason. Just
Yeah,
give it.
yeah.
God gives us life without, you know, asking anything back. So
But
that's,
still, Anton, but do you think that the human race can survive without religion? And can atheists be good for the society?
I will start from the second part. And I know lots of atheists who are much better than Christians.
Good point.
And I don't think that, plus some atheists do not believe in God, but I'm sure that God believes in them. There was a good story, like here I can say, like it's an anecdote, not a joke, a real story. When one priest in Soviet Union was allowed to go to the, to students, school students, to
preach.
Yes, and talk with them during Brezhnev, and it's like they told him, okay, talk whatever you want about, but just say the first phrase before you start. That Gagarin was in space and he didn't see God. And the priest, I think he deserves PhD in theology for that, maybe more than that. He said yes, okay. I don't remember who was that, but somebody very clever. So he came to the school, to those students, and he said, well, Gagarin went to space and he didn't see God, but God saw him and blessed him. So that's what I think, that atheists can be very good people, and sometimes an Apostle Paul says lots of things about that. So it's in their hearts, and I think God talks through them, and sometimes they're a good example for Christians to see, like, come on, you know God, you have a relationship with God, and you're such bastards, you don't do what they do. They just help people. I wanted to come in a hoodie from Strish, make Sasha great again. It's like, they just, the guy who cut my hair for, it was for 2 or 3 years. Now he's in very bad condition. He's disabled, and they decided just to, do some fundraising for him. And they're not religious at all. And some religious people do nothing. So I think atheists can be very good for society. And I think that it's very sad that they don't have this side. They don't have this friendship with God. And I know lots.
That they could be even better.
They could be even better, and they just don't know that they are already Christians and they do good things. And the first part about our humanity, our planet.
Can they survive without religion? Our human race.
I have no idea. I think that human race is slowly but steadily now destroying itself. I'm not a big fan of Greta, by the way, but
you mean that ugly girl?
Yeah, but I mean that religion is not for something again. It doesn't. As Martin Luther said once, that theology and astronomy deal with different skies, and theology doesn't deal with sky; it deals with heavens. So that's a different perspective. So it's not about surviving. And I'll give one more example for my favorite Orthodox theologian, priest, Father Alexander Schmemann, who lived in America most of his life. He was born in. He spent first part of his life in France and then moved to America to start he worked in a seminary in New York, St. Vladimir Seminary. And once he said, religion and Christianity, first of all, is not about solving problems. Problems will always be here. Always. No matter in which society you live. They will be here. In your family, with your friends, with your colleagues. But faith takes you up to such space, somewhere from where you see problems differently. You just get other lens.
You get above your problems.
Yes, you just look at the same problems differently. That's just another side, just another view, another look, whatever you call it. And
But Anton, you probably agree that religion affects people anyway. And would you say that religion makes a person warmer and kinder or better?
Unfortunately, no. And as I said before, I know lots of examples when people don't become better being Christians.
Like crusades.
Yeah, crusades, and what we see in history, lots of examples of the opposite. And we can read about that in New Testament. Again, Apostle Paul saying that I'm doing things that I don't want. And, it's my heart wants good, but I do bad. And the difference between a religious person, a faithful Christian, is that Christian at least understands that should understand. Sin is sin, and shouldn't call sin normal. It's not psychology. It's not therapy. In therapy, it's you. It's your internal world. You're just different. Just do it.
So you're saying the rules are quite precise.
They're quite precise, but it's not about eat this, don't eat this. It's not about fasting mainly. It's about feeling that you don't match something. You know what truth is. You know what good is, and when you do bad, you clearly understand in your head. No matter what you're trying to say, pretend, you understand that you're doing something very bad. And you can't call it good. And if you call it good, you should feel much worse if you're really a Christian. Otherwise, you're just not a Christian. That's it. End of story. And I don't say you should be. Okay, you're not. That's the thing. It's unfortunately, and Christianity doesn't make people better, but it makes them want to be better.
Mhm.
That's at least small thing that they can
And
just want,
it
desire.
probably makes them more sincere to themselves.
Sincere and requiring. You know, their demand should be demanding more from themselves, not from others. Only from yourself. Not saying that he is wrong, I'm wrong. But it's not like, oh, I'm wrong, I'm so bad. No, come on, no. Christianity is about light. It's like going to the light, not running away from darkness, but going to the light. And it's about, okay, I'm bad, and I know tomorrow. Today I confess, I say I'm bad, and tomorrow I do the same. But I suffer, and I hope, and I want to become better. And I'm trying step by step, at least in small steps, very small steps. But I'm trying to change myself, change my heart, and that's it. Maybe I mean that's the maximum we can do.
Yeah.
We cannot be. Otherwise, we don't need Christ. Otherwise, we don't need faith. If we are already, we become clear, perfect, clean. It's not about sanity. Yeah.
Okay. Now let's get even more philosophical. So I want to ask you about your purpose in life. Do we necessarily need some purpose? What can be a purpose? What can you say?
I'm sure that when God decided to let my parents have me, and he had a plan. But God is not, he doesn't even insist on his plans, I'm sure. He hints. He helps, he supports, if you are asking for support. Well, and I believe that everybody has a purpose. Sometimes we don't know it, and some people don't know it during the whole life, and some people just don't want to know it, they don't care. But I believe that everybody has sort of, not scenario, it's not a script, but sort of purpose. And to find out what is your purpose is one of the coolest things and most important things for me, as for me. And I think that I've been doing different things in my life, and now this script I'm writing about is actually about this. It's like two stories of two people, same person, like two stories about one person, and absolutely different stories about one. It's not Jekyll and Hyde. Two good stories, but what the person could have become. And the purpose for me, I think, is to see what you are, to match, to see what you are, to go toward this goal. And when you are in your deathbed, I would like to be surrounded with my children, my wife, and my grandchildren maybe. And I want to feel that I've at least fulfilled a part of what I was planning to fulfill, to become a part of what I was supposed to be.
And Anton, you told us something about the great plan and everything. What do you think about the idea that everything is predetermined?
I'm not Calvinist. That's why I don't like Calvinism, because I don't believe that everything is predetermined. I think that God gives, He knows, but it doesn't mean that He forces, and it's not like you cannot choose another path. You can.
So you believe in free will?
Absolutely. I believe in a combination of free will and providence. It's again relationship. So it's kind of paradoxical. But Christianity is full of paradoxes.
So in your life you still have some choices to make.
You have choices, yes, of course. And God knows what you choose, but He doesn't, He doesn't push you to certain. I believe He helps you, He supports, and people around also. But you still have free will to choose between good and evil, to choose the path, to choose your way. And otherwise it's unfair, and that would be unfair.
Yeah. And how do you measure people's success? I mean, what does success means to you? How do you measure it? How do you measure your own success? Can you tell us?
Of course, property, car, your wife's fur coat. No, of course, no. Okay. I think that's also the level of, I don't like such, oriental words like harmony, but when you see that the person is satisfied, doesn't mean that the person has a lot, but the person is satisfied but still going to continue. You remember Steve Jobs? I love it. That's an example. Steve Jobs. His Stanford lecture can be. When I was planning to be a priest, I had an idea once to come on Sunday and just to read his Stanford lecture about 3 stories with love and life and death, and then to tell parishioners that was Steve Jobs, an atheist, because it's so Christian. And he says that you should understand where are you going, but never settle. You remember he was talking about one magazine, handmade magazine, and when those guys who were making it was called like Global Atlas or something. It was about different countries, handmade magazine, and when they quit it and they released the last issue, there was a phrase: "Stay hungry, stay foolish." And that's so. I mean, hungry. I mean, you're starving for life. You want not more. It's not about money. It's not about, because money. You know, today your car is cool. 10 years, 1 year later, it's
not so cool.
You know, it's not so cool. You want another. You want more and more and more. No, that's to be satisfied, but still going. You know, you want the way. You want the path. And Christianity is also. It's Jesus calls himself, "I'm the way." It's the way. It's the trip. And when I proposed to my wife, I invited her to a journey. That's a journey. Life is journey, and stay hungry and stay foolish. And so it means understand that you never, and every scientist and atheist understands that he will never know everything, but he's still going into darkness to explore, to learn, to study, to you know.
But anyway, what do you need to have on your deathbed to consider yourself a successful person?
You will feel it, definitely. You know, that's what we also have in our prayers in divine liturgy, that, you know, give us death, which is peaceful death. You know, when you are in peace, you know, and you're not peace.
I mean, what do you want to have by that moment?
To have, no, not what I want to be.
I mean, not physically. I mean,
to be what I want to be.
Yeah.
I want to be loved. I want to my beloved ones to see that they were loved, and to see that something that I knew I could do, I did. You know, I want to see that there were, for me, like there would be something connected with literature, of course.
What kind of impact do you want to have on the society, on this world, and everything?
I don't want to have any impact. I want to just to do what I am and to.
But I know, maybe you write an amazing book or something.
I hope, you know, I want, if my book, if my poetry, if one day the stuff I'm writing becomes, you know, massive thing, or, you know, more than 200 people know about it, or 1,000 people, and I really hope that if it can make somebody happier for, I'm not pathetic now, believe me, it can make somebody happier and maybe change someone's mind in small thing for a second, at least for a second. Somebody looks at his, you know, wife or mom or dad or children, and wow, you're so beautiful, you're so cool, and life is great, and God is, you know, kind, and everything is beautiful, and thank you for this. And if it can change the person this way, that will be great. I think that will be the divine plan will be fulfilled.
Yeah. And now back to earth. Let's talk about money.
Okay.
What does money mean to you?
That's it is important. Money is important because I don't want my family to live in poverty, of course, and I don't want my wife to count, you know, dimes. And of course, I want to afford at least healthy food, you know, and I want to afford like all important necessities. But we are not crazy about luxuries. So still, some of my friends think that I have like bigger desires and material desires than I should have, especially.
By the way, is there anything wrong about having material desires?
I don't think so. I think that you should have a limit. You know, you should understand that should not be the goal.
And you probably agree that it's better to earn your money in an ethical way.
Of course, definitely, no doubt. That's of course. And if there is a choice to have more, but you know, to go against someone, to step on someone's head, of course, I will never do that. And even if that's a small thing, okay, you can forget. It's a small.
It is not worth it. I can tell you.
Of course, and it's never. I don't believe in like boomerang thing. No, it's not about that. I just know that you just can't do it. That's it. It's just it's not a matter of Kant, and it's just something that is wrong, and you will never be finally in a big game. You will never be happy with that. So just I don't even try to analyze this. I know that you can't do it, not because God will punish you. I don't believe in such God. My God is not a Nazi, so he's not from Gulag. I'm not afraid of punishment. I'm afraid of feeling myself not in peace, but peace of, what.
I know.
Yeah, so I don't want to speak like that. But I still believe that you need to earn money, and I don't like lazy guys who just their wives running around to to earn some money and they are just playing music, whatever. No, I don't like that. I also like playing the guitar or writing stuff, but I understand that I'm a man, I'm a husband, and I have my responsibilities, and I have to do it, and I want to earn more, but I have some limits. I don't want millions. No.
I think that it's normal to have some inner satisfaction when you earn money.
Of course.
When you get richer in an ethical way and everything.
Well, it can be, but for me, it wouldn't be the main inner satisfaction. If that becomes your main inner satisfaction, as you call it, right? For me, that's
not necessarily. I'm not saying that.
Well, it
this
can
is
be.
The most important
it can
part.
be. But I still believe that you should share them. You should share. I mean, like you earn more than you need, then you should start sharing with those who just can't, physically can't, or moral. I mean, they just don't know how. Nobody gave them the tool. Nobody taught them how to make money, and but they want to have families, and they have full right to have families, but they don't have this tool. They don't have enough force, energy. Maybe they're ill. Maybe they're not ill. Even they're not sick or mentally or physically, but they can't. And you have enough, and you have more than you need. You have enough for to have car, property, clothes, food, traveling. So you don't buy another car. Then you can share.
No, you can't have 2 breakfasts a day.
Yeah, you can't have 2 breakfasts a day, right? So you can share. When you feel that you can share, then you start sharing. That's great. Why not? Not why not. I think that's a moral must.
Yeah. No, it's your part. Ask something.
Okay, Anton, on your VK page, I'm your subscriber. I saw you have a daughter, an absolutely lovely one, and I think she takes after you. Given that you are an English teacher, what's your approach to teaching her English?
Just today, we were having a very cool lesson with her, and she didn't want to have a lesson even with her cards. She has like a bag with cards, different cards, and she has lots of books, but we just took 2 soft toys and we're making some dialogues. Plus, what I do even with adults, we do sort of PE, like fitness.
Oh.
It's like, she knows all body parts and many verbs of action because we do it constantly. We've been doing that since she was like maybe 8 months. So she knows foot and hair and ears and chin, cheeks, like everything. And she loves doing that, especially when I let her be the coach and she tells me what to do, like run like a rabbit or something. She tells me run, rabbit, run, or jump, turn around, clap her hands. So that's what we do. And when I see that in her eyes, I can see that she's tired. After 10 minutes, 15, she's 4. She's gonna be 4 tomorrow. This is her birthday. Together, same day with my favorite writer, Anton. His anniversary tomorrow. Yeah. And cool. And she knows his name. And she has a sense of humor. And I think that as Anton Chekhov had brilliant sense of humor. And so when I see she's tired, we just stop. And I always suggest, I offer. I never push her. It's time for the lesson. Sometimes we don't do anything for 3 days.
So you just make it a part of your everyday life.
It's everyday life. But plus, I teach via Skype. And she's always around, so she comes to say hi to my students.
So she's exposed to
she knows more words than I think, because we sometimes hear her saying some words because she hears me talking, and most of my students are adults. and let's say 50% of them are intermediate or something like upper intermediate, and we practice a lot, and she hears and she copy, and I hear her playing with dolls in English.
Oh, that's very good. But Tanya probably wanted to ask you also about a bilingual environment from the very birth of your child. Do you think it's good?
I believe it's good. I don't agree with those, psychologists and doctors who are saying that they are slower in their development. Come on, so what's wrong with all those American people who live in 3 languages? Mother is Russian, father is Greek, and they go to their nursery school or kindergarten or school, and they speak English there, and they get 3 languages.
Yeah.
I know, and they're okay.
So you think that it's good to start educating your children from the very beginning, from birth?
Yeah, in a way of that's which I described like edutainment. It's just fun. She watches cartoons. Sometimes we try to play in cartoons in English. So
in English.
Yeah.
In English.
Yeah, she like all this Peppa Pig and even Muzzy. She likes Muzzy. I was surprised.
Muzzy? What?
Yeah, you don't know Muzzy? Come
No,
on,
we don't know
from
Muzzy.
80s. It's like when I was a kid, I watched that. It was on Soviet TV. It's a British cartoon about like an alien. She looks like a big green bear, and he comes to some country with a king, queen, and princess, and yeah, it's very old stuff from the 80s. Very short episodes. Brilliant in terms of didactics, education, because they have nice stories, and they keep repeating phrases and emphasizing them like visually, sometimes in letters, and it really helps.
I always say that cartoons are very good for people and for children, for people, for everyone.
Yeah, for everyone. I believe that especially today.
Because they talk a lot in cartoons.
Yeah, and visualize. Today people don't want to read. People don't want to read. It's
unfortunately.
Yeah.
What else, Tanya?
What else? I wanted to ask you about your book. You translated the whole book.
Anton, show us your book, by the way.
Show us your book.
Yes. We came, we saw, we converted. It's called.
Did you choose it to translate by yourself? And was it challenging for you? Did you communicate with the author to do the right translation? What was your approach to translating this book?
Unfortunately, or fortunately, I did not communicate with the author, but I did communicate with the publishing house in America, and that was an interesting story. I got acquainted with the editor-in-chief of Nikkei Publishing House, which is in Moscow.
You contacted them?
Yeah, we got it. I followed him first on Facebook, and then we started just chatting. And once I just sent him some links from ancient faith publishers, just some books about Orthodoxy in America, and books that I really enjoyed reading, because they're different from what we see here. They're very live, and they are based on stories from people who converted to Orthodoxy, who were not born, who are not so-called cradle Orthodox. They are not Greeks or Russians or Bulgarians. So some cool books, and after a few days, I sent him those links, and he said, don't you want to translate 1 book or 2 books? And I said, wow. And he even started a new, branch in a new direction in their publishing house, releasing books, English, American books. And before that, Nikkei did not publish books in other languages. They did not translate anything, as far as I remember. And so they hired me to work on 2 books. Came we saw, we converted by Father Joseph Honeycutt from Texas, who is also a convert. He used to be Protestant, then became Orthodox when he was like 30 or something. And the second book is really cool, but I had no time to work on it, so another person translated it. It's called Nearly Orthodox: How to Be a Modern Woman in the Ancient Church. Written by ex-punk vocalist and journalist working for The Guardian. And she converted to Orthodox Church, and after a few years being in church, she's still in tattoos. She decided to write a book, and books called How to Be Nearly Orthodox. Really cool book, but I like this more because not sexist, but it's
yeah,
easier to
it's
understand.
closer to
Yeah, it's
men's
really-
mentality.
Yeah, that was a little bit, for girls. I mean, for modern women, and I didn't have enough time to do it. But after that, they translated a few other books, and they even hired me for a 4-month part-time job to be their content hunter. And content hunter.
So you were supposed to choose the books for
Yes,
translation.
to find the books, to explain why, to give some reasoning. And every week I had to make a list of 10 books and authors. And I think there were some results, because after 4 months they chose from all my reports, they chose 10 books. Some of them are already published, and some will be published this year or next year. So that was big fun. When I scrapped this book, and I wrote this in my preface here, that it's like if Salinger, or maybe not even Salinger, Woody Allen, or I don't know some American fiction writers, Kurt Vonnegut, would write about orthodoxy. So it's full of interesting stories and jokes, humor. He compares saints with superheroes from Marvel stories, And but at the same time, it's very Christian. It's very sincere, very deep, and very easy to read. So strongly recommend. It's hard to buy it. Recently, I wanted to buy one because I don't have it. This is my last one, and yes, and I couldn't buy it in Rostov. So because there were just 4,000 copies published. So.
Anything else, Tanya? Would you like to ask?
How long did it take it to translate this book?
It took 3 months.
3 months.
But it was for me. It was also a good opportunity to spend 3 months in Sochi with my family. I was trying to find good arguments for my wife to move to Sochi, and when they hired me, I said, "Okay, come on, now I have most of my students via Skype, and I have this job, so why not?" And we went to Sochi and spent 3 months in Lazarevsky, and I was working mainly in cafes. So most of the money I earned,
Hemingway.
I like writing in different places. Unfortunately, I don't know why, but I can't write at home. I do it, but for me it's easier to do it somewhere. And then I come and read it to my wife. And but when we counted, we were laughing because I think I spent exactly the same as I earned. For tea, coffee, and
But at least you broke even.
yeah, but that's a good result, and I'm not saying I'm proud, but I'm glad. I'm glad that I had this.
It's an accomplishment, I would say.
The cover is not the best.
If you let me, I would like to ask one extra question. The English language, especially the American variation, is very informal, and people like to express themselves in informal ways.
Right.
When you translated this book into Russian, were you also informal, and didn't the Russian audience take offense at,
Well, we were waiting for a few months before the book was published for the official, seal from Russian Orthodox Church. So I couldn't use any informal language. Although this book is, I think he's very talented podcaster. He's a journalist as well. He has his podcast Orthodoxia on the radio. He can talk informally using very formal, good English. I mean, so there was no problem with that. There were troubles with transferring some cultural things, and that's why they cut a few chapters because they wouldn't be understood by a Russian audience. Yeah, but they were at the same time, the language is really good, and there's no cursing, of course. Here, he's a priest. So.
And finally, Anton, maybe you have some questions to us, something you would like to talk about.
Yes, of course. And what about the plan? I mean, I told you that I see that your club is expanding, and more people are coming, eager to join. And I think that's a very good initiative here in our city. So what's your plan? Are you going to just keep doing it this way, or maybe you're thinking about something?
Well, this idea is not completely expandable. I mean, I don't need so many people, so many more people. My idea is attracting very proper people, like Tanya, for example. She's a very devoted member of our English club, and it's a very important part of my socializing. I'm not sure that it's going to be monetized someday, but I'm sure that it will affect, or it will have some impact on very important spheres of my life, and to a great extent it formed me as a person, because I've been doing it for more than 7 years, and I can tell you it's probably the most important part of my life in Rostov.
Well, great.
So hopefully I will have enough time to continue doing it, but I will always think about doing something greater on the basis of my English club.
Well, I just wish you good luck. Some Christians don't like to say good luck, but I wish you good luck, and I think that many people are really thankful for this work you're doing. So.
Thank you. And maybe something else you would like to say to our viewers, you can address, I don't know, maybe you want to become the next mayor of Rostov and you can share your campaign or everything.
No. I just, I love the philosophy of TED. TED Talks.
TED Talks,
Ideas worth sharing. There's actually, in America, there is also an Orthodox podcast called Father Ted Talks. Very cool priest. I suggested that guy to be involved, and he's got no book, but Father Ted Talks. I love the philosophy of Ted, Chris Anderson and his team. Ideas worth spreading, sharing, and one of the elements of TED is that you just come and share. You're not selling. Too many people are trying to sell everything themselves, their neighbors, I don't know.
Marathons on Instagram.
Whatever, yes, planets, universe, God, I'm sorry, yes. But no, just share. And I think that if you are sharing sincerely, if you are what you are, you will gain what is called success and harmony and pleasure from life. So I wish everyone this, and myself as well, and my family, and you guys. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anton, for participating in this interview, and I want to give you this one-day voucher for Zifferblatt as a present. You can use it starting tomorrow. Well,
great.
Unfortunately, they wrote Alibek here, but
it's okay. But I will say that for this day, I'll be Alibek. It's okay.
you can just say I'll be back.
I'll be back. I can call myself.
Another one goes to our co-host Anyusha.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You were watching English talk show interviews with Anton Korenevsky. Thank you so much for watching, and cut.
Bye bye.
And we had our Tanya.
Bye bye.